I love matches like this, man. The energy, the chaos, the roar. Bryson smashing that ball into the sky like a rocket. Crowd losing their minds, hands flying, the whole scene pure electricity. Every swing was a statement, every cheer was thunder. Even the announcer's voice cracked with adrenaline. And who could blame him? I love this kind of match, right? I love the smasher of Bryson. Full swing, ball straight up in the air at the green, pumping the crowd up as best he can. This wasn't golf anymore. It was war in a polo shirt. A live redemption story shot by shot as Bryson DeChambeau clawed his way out of humiliation to write one of golf's wildest comebacks ever. Golf's legends live forever. But here's the twist. What really lit that fire inside Bryson? And how did it flip the entire Ryder Cup on its head for Team USA? Stay locked in. This story's about to go from wild to straight up unbelievable. The morning started with Bryson grinding in silence. No smiles, no chatter, just those brutal second shots slicing through the air like warnings. Everyone felt it. The calm before the storm, then boom. September 2025, New York, Bethpage Black. The air was thick with pride, tension, and old grudges ready to explode. Team Europe, led by Luke Donald, strutted in like they owned the place. Cold, confident, untouchable. Up 12 off of in seconds from their first Road Ryder Cup win since the miracle at Medellin, Team USA was standing at the edge of humiliation. Keegan Bradley looked trapped, but that's when miracles are born. This wasn't golf anymore. It was a cultural collision. Live rebels, bruised egos, online chaos, trash talk spilling from tee to crowd. Bethpage felt less like a course and more like a wear zone. The fairways weren't grass anymore. They were trenches and standing dead center in that chaos. Two total opposites. England's ice-cold tactician Matt Fitzpatrick and America's walking thunderstorm Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson had already lit the fuse, calling Bethpage your fortress. Fitzpatrick just smirked, snapping back. Accuracy wins wars. The crowd erupted. Pure pandemonium ripped through the air. By 11:25 a.m. ET, both men stepped onto the first tee, and 40,000 fans had turned Bethpage into a roaring battlefield of flags, chants, and beer-fueled chaos. Every time Bryson launched a 320-yard missile, the ground shook. European fans answered with those slow, mocking claps that rolled across the hills like thunder. This wasn't a golf match. This was war with scorecards. Cameras locked on Bryson, muscles tense, veins popping, eyes burning with fury. The crowd was losing it. Fitzpatrick stayed stone cold, pretending not to care, but everyone watching could feel it. The whole Ryder Cup had suddenly shrunk down to two men and one battlefield. Power versus precision, chaos versus calm, muscle versus mind. But don't be fooled by those polite smiles. This wasn't golf anymore. It was personal. Pride, revenge, and humiliation, all hanging in the air over American turf. From the first swing, Fitzpatrick looked possessed, locked in like a man on a mission. His opening birdie on the par 4 first sliced through Bryson's bravado like a laser through armor. By the third hole, cracks were showing. A brutal 3-putt from 40th handed Fitz another dagger straight to the heart, and Fitz ice cold. No emotion, no mercy, just domination. 2 up, then 3, then 4. By the 6th hole, he was 5 up. That's the kind of lead commentators whisper about, like ghost stories. Bethpage, once a carnival of chaos, fell into eerie silence. It felt like a funeral march for Team USA's pride. Every fairway Fitzpatrick nailed felt like another dagger to Team USA's guest. Every Bryson miss drew a groan that rippled through the stance. Painful to watch, but impossible to look away. Commentators were losing it over Fitzpatrick's rhythm. Smooth, surgical, deadly. He didn't flex, didn't yell, didn't need to. His silence was the threat. Meanwhile, Bryson looked like a man swinging for redemption, but losing control. Every drive was a thunderclap. Power without purpose, rage without direction. He wasn't playing smart golf anymore. He was chasing fury. Then came hole 7, where comedy met tragedy. Bryson launched a rocket off the tee, and it went sideways. The ball disappeared into the crowd. Gasps, screams, disbelief everywhere. Even his fans froze, praying it hadn't just become another viral disaster. It wasn't just a bad shot. It was a sign, a warning from the golf gods themselves. The powerhouse was sinking, buried in sand, while Fitzpatrick walked past untouched, calm, clinical, ice in his veins. He stepped into that same bunker, clipped it to 10F, and drained the putt like it was another Tuesday at the office. 5 up, the British tabloids were already licking their lips. Fitzmagic destroys the beast. But beneath that roar of beer-soaked chants in Bryson's clenched jaw, something darker started brewing. You could feel it. That dangerous, explosive mix of humiliation and rage rising inch by inch. And that's when Bryson becomes terrifying. Because if history's shown us anything about DeChambeau, it's this. When fury fuels those 350-yard bombs and a desperate crowd starts chanting his name, humiliation can turn into legend. By the 8th hole, he looked finished. Hat pulled low, swagger gone, body language screaming. Make it stop. The same fans who once screamed his name now sat frozen in uneasy silence until chaos came roaring back. Fitzpatrick finally blinked, missed a 9-footer for par. Just like that, the ice cracked. Bryson pounced, slammed his putt, and ripped the hole away like a man possessed. The crowd detonated. Silence turned to thunder. One roar, one heartbeat, one spark, and suddenly the comeback was alive. "Bryson, Bryson!" they chanted. The crowd reborn from the dead. You could see the adrenaline flood through him, chest heaving, eyes blazing, hands shaking with fire. By the 9th hole, it was pure cinema, straight out of Asport's movie. Bryson unleashed a 350-yard missile down the middle. And for the first time all day, Fitzpatrick flinched. One wedge, one perfect roll, birdie, now only 3 down. The celebration unreal. Bryson exploded with a fist pump like he just won the cup right there. The energy flipped in an instant. Despair turned to electric madness. The crowd was feeding off him and he was feeding off them. A wild feedback loop of chaos and belief. For the first time all day, Fitzpatrick's armor started to crack. He finally looked human. Bethpage erupted. Flags waving, chants booming, commentators shouting over each other about a comeback born straight from chaos. The data-driven scientist was gone. Bryson's brain had short-circuited into pure adrenaline. No stats, no spreadsheets, just raw instinct and fury. As he charged into the back 9, the whole match flipped on its head. Fitzpatrick still had the advantage on paper. Sure, but this wasn't golf anymore. This waste heater. A heavyweight brawl disguised as a gentleman's game. Every hole felt like a new round. Every roar from the crowd a punch to the gut. Bryson was buzzing, talking to himself, hyping the fans, throwing side-eyes at Fitzpatrick. The storm had officially arrived. You hearing that? "They're with me," he shouted, flashing that wild, defiant grin. Fitzpatrick just smirked, that smug little look that said, "You're still losing." But the cracks were forming. The ice was melting. By the 10th hole, the unthinkable was happening. The Ardor Cup script was rewriting itself in real time. Team USA, once left for dead, suddenly had a heartbeat again. You could feel it in the air. Bryson's madness was contagious. His fire spread across Bethpage like wildfire, seeping into every American on the course. Captain Keegan Bradley was back fist-pumping like a man possessed. And Bethpage Black, it wasn't a golf course anymore. It was a war zone of belief. The same man once booed for joining live golf was now reborn. The wild card turned savior. The Chaos King transforming into America's unexpected Ardor Cup hero. The irony was cinematic, and then came the explosion. The back 9 began, and Bryson didn't just play golf, he ascended. Pull 11, a par 3 carved from pure chaos, became his baptism. 7-iron 8F birdie. The crowd detonated. 2 down. Someone